mammals, Ben Woodruff here. Today's falconry video, I'm going to be talking about something that may not seem important, but is actually crucial to properly practicing falconry and the upkeep and health of your birds, which is bath pans. I live in the United States, and here a license is required to practice the sport of falconry. One of the requirements for getting that license is to have an acceptable bath pan that's passed off. Now, in the olden days, they specified that bath pan has to be big enough for your bird to spread its wings out all the way. So basically, almost any bird that required like a kiddie bath pool, those little swimming pools for little kids, little plastic ones, ridiculous. Not a good choice at all. And birds do not bathe with their wings stretched out in the bath pan. So over the years, that's changed a little bit. You do still need a bath pan. So there's a lot of types you can get. There's fancy ones that are sold online from outfitters like Western Sporting Publications is a good one. What I usually end up getting, though, now, I've used round bath pans, and they still work as well, but I found a lot of value in cement mixing troughs. If you go to just like a supply store, like a hardware store, there's rectangular cement mixing troughs. They're hard plastic. They clean very easily. They have a nice curved edge on the top for a bird to perch on. But whatever you get, if you're a new falconer, follow the advice of your sponsor. They'll probably have some good input on your choice of the bath pan. So why is this such an important thing? I'm not so worried about what bath pan is used as much as that it gets used and used properly, and that you understand why a bath pan is so needed. So the first one is the obvious. Birds drink by using their bath pan. If you're familiar with dogs and cats and have them as a pet, you have a little bowl of water, and when they're thirsty, they go get a drink. That's not how birds of prey are. The bathing process and the drinking process are the same. So you need to have a bath pan big enough that they're willing to step in to get a drink. If you just have a tiny little bowl, it's not going to work. So you don't want to do that. Now, the normal process, you have to understand, birds of prey, when they're on the ground where water is, they're always at risk. Out in nature, if you are on the ground, there's always a bigger bird that could see you and come after you. Add to that, if you're getting wet, you're soaking your feathers. You've added a lot of weight. You've lowered the flight efficiency of your feathers. And so if something comes at you from the air, or like a coyote on the ground, your ability to get up and get away has been compromised. That's not good. Birds are genetically hardwired mentally to understand this. So you watch the normal way most birds of prey take a bath is they'll be on their perch near a bath pan. They'll look at it. They jump off, and they walk over to it. They jump up on the edge. They bend down, maybe take a little drink, hop in, put their feet in the water, look around, maybe get a little drink, maybe dab their belly in there, and then they hop out and step around, look around, and then they do it again and get back in. Now, when you watch them bathing, a lot of times they will dip their whole belly in and their tail, and it looks kind of funny. It's a little comical watching them bob, but they don't just splash in like a dog. There's a ritual, and so they'll splash their head side to side. They will dip their head down in and let water fall over their back, and then they basically rouse or rustle their feathers in the water and let it get under their feathers a little. You have to remember, birds' feathers are not naturally waterproof, but they have at the base of their tail a gland that secretes an oil, and when they preen, they always grab a little bit of that oil with their beak and preen it into their feathers. So their feathers are partly waterproof, and that's part of the upkeep. Okay, so bathing. We think in terms of mammals of bathing as just being a ritual for cleaning, getting dirtiness off or sweat off of your bodies. With birds of prey, it's quite a bit different. So again, the first reason to let them bathe and why it's so important is they need to drink. And that's when they do it, is when they're bathing. The next reason is feather upkeep. having the chance for the keratin-based feathers to absorb some of that water and get cleaned and bathed allows them to straighten out. If you're in an extremely dry environment, the cellular level lets them have a little more moisture, and it really helps with the upkeep. They seem to understand this. And now, for falcons, it's beyond just that. Falcons' mental health, they need to do this in order to be mentally and emotionally well. They really do. Falcons, even in the cold, large falcons, pretty much need to bathe every day for their mental well-being. They really enjoy it. And the best thing to do is to have them in a place with a lot of sun and warmth where afterwards they can jump out, fluff up their feathers, rouse, and dry off in the sun and just enjoy being out. A lot of other birds of prey have fun with it too. Eagles, golden eagles, and I've seen Cooper's hawks and sharp-shinned hawks also seem to genuinely enjoy bathing. It's important. They have fun with it. I've seen the extremes. One of my golden eagles would insist on just jumping in the bath pan, even in the winter, standing in the water and just standing for over an hour, just looking around, happy as a clam, just enjoying standing in the water. And I've had Cooper's hawks and goshawks that loved water so much that in the middle of the hunt, if they saw a tiny trickle of a stream, or in one case it was an irrigation sprayer that was leaking, making a trickle of a stream, they leave your fish, jump, and they have to bathe in it, play in it, dance in it, drink. So provide that at home. Make sure that they know that at home, that that's always available. It's important for their health. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't seem to discuss is talons and beak are made out of keratin, a coating of keratin, which is the same thing as your fingernails and your hair. That grows in layers. Now, when we have these birds trained, most falconers are feeding a richer diet than in the wild. Like a rodent-eating bird, rodents are junk food. They just go right through your system. So rodent eaters, for example, are constantly hunting because that food's flying through their system. When you switch them to a richer diet and you train them, it stabilizes. So they're not burning through calories as fast. But it also increases the production of keratin. So talons and beak can get overgrown quite easily. Now, in falconry, we do coping, which is where you take files or a Dremel and trim and sharpen the talons and the beak. I'll have another video on that soon. But in addition to that, just having your feet in the water, those thicker layers, especially when the bird's molting, will slough off. The water will seep in under the layers, and those layers can remove on their own. It's a very natural thing to have happen. Now, a lot of birds do not like to bathe in front of people, which is one of the reasons why you need to have that bath pan available, so that if they're feeling nervous, especially with a lot of first-year birds, that they have the chance to jump in, stand in the water, let the water saturate into the layers of their talons, and slough off the dead outer layers in a very natural way before they get out of control. So those are the main reasons why a bath pan is so important. They need to drink, they need to bathe to saturate their feathers with water to straighten them out. Many species need it for their well-being, their mental and emotional well-being, and it helps slough off layers of overgrown talon and beak, and they just enjoy it. So I mentioned those rectangular cement mixing troughs. I love them. Doesn't mean that's the only right way to do it. Even my golden eagles, even my female golden eagles, have preferred the rectangular ones over much larger bath pans. There's something, and again, this is just my personal preference, but I've observed that they'll orient themselves lengthwise, and they're like, this is all right, not too big, not too small, and they seem to prefer it. But round ones are fine. Try to have it big enough that their tail can extend beyond. You'll always have exceptions, and there's always new innovative ideas, but my recommendation is those cement mixing troughs seem to work wonders. So keep them clean, make sure that they'll sometimes poop in them, wash it out immediately, make sure mosquitoes aren't in there, propagating. And in the summer, microscopic algae can grow. So you need to clean that water out every day. Make sure it's always fresh, always clean, and available for your birds. Well, I hope this helps a little bit. If you're a new falconer, again, always look to your sponsor for advice. But aside from that, I hope this video is helpful in understanding why bath pans are so important. So happy hawking, and thank you for watching my channel.